Well, good morning, everybody. The day that we saw Alfa Romeo unveil their 2023 livery, I'm just going to do that for desktop audio. So hopefully you can't hear the game sound at the moment, which is playing in the background for now. I will load the game up while we're here. There's a vote in the poll if you're here in the chat live with me. I do understand that it is 6 minutes past 10 in the morning UK time, so fair chance a lot of other people are at work. So fortunately for me, I have the morning off. So, but then I don't have an evening. I'm out until gone 7:30. So take some, you lose. You win some, you lose some. That's the way the world is. But yeah, we've had the unveiling of the 2023 Alfa Romeo, which is, it's not terrible, but it's not as good as last year. I feel that the black it just leaves it look unfinished. So it's probably just a weight saving thing, which is really a massive shame because they've brought the weight limit down. And Alfa Romeo last year were one of the teams that at the start of the season were kind of on the weight limit, which kind of gave them their edge in performance at the beginning of the season at least, and then they sort of tailed off through the mid-season. Bottas and Zhou not scoring a point for 8 or 9 races at one point. At least Bottas, he had a real barren spell. And Zhou Guanyu suffering most of the reliability issues within the team, which was a shame. It just doesn't. It feels incomplete, is what I'm trying to say. The red doesn't look like the kind of red you would normally match to a black. So, yeah. Personally, for me, the Williams looks excellent, and the Haas looks really nice. The Haas is clever. It's an optical illusion. If you look at it from the front, it's white. If you look at it from the side, it's black. Very, very clever. But the Williams is really neat and tidy. The matte blue finish, I like that. So that's where my create a account to vote in my own chat. Okay, I'll close that doc and I'll reopen it. There we go. Apparently, I can't vote. Not least on OBS. So, without further ado, let's get into some F1 Manager. We'll discuss the Williams livery shortly as well. So there we go. We'll go into the game screen, and well, we had an expected start again in the opening races. Let's put that back on. The sound of the game can come back through now. Right, so let's have a look at our results. Where do we do that? Standings, I think. Or no, if we just go back to circuits. So, previous race results. Bahrain, we finished 17th and 18th. Albon ahead of De Vries. De Vries was ahead for most of that race, having qualified 18th. And then 3 lockups through that race saw him fall behind. Albon, powertrain, that's not the right one. So here we go. And then in Saudi Arabia, De Vries finished 17th, but Albon finished 20th. But we have beaten Aston Martin with at least one car in both rounds so far. So what I want to do next is a little bit of car development. So we'll start a new project, design. There's not really been much thought about this, to be honest, so far. We've got an underfloor in design. I think what we also, we need to focus on everything. But I'm going to go for a front wing. And we'll go with 2.5 CFD hours, and we'll go for 25 wind tunnel hours. And we'll try and focus on a little bit of everything. Okay, so that just improves a little bit. Our high speed with the front wing at least will actually go up to 11th fastest, so not terrible. It's going to take a little while to do because we're investing quite a lot in this. We might as well just put 5 engineers on it and be done with it. Okay, let's splash some more cash. We have also done something with facilities. The CFD simulator is getting an upgrade, as is the race simulator, which will help our drivers. Let's move on all the way, probably to... Oh, okay, the race simulator is now upgraded. Excellent. Monthly car development report. We've not done anything that's come online yet, so nothing to see there. We're heading to Australia. We've got Nick De Vries and Alex Albon in the car. The rules of this save, if you're new to it, we must have a rookie in the car at all times, essentially. So our rookie for season 1 is Nick De Vries. We binned off Latifi. And De Vries has done well. He's qualified ahead of Van Aston Martin in both races. He actually qualified 17th in Saudi Arabia. We're not going to reach Q2, so there's no point doing that. Fastest lap. Let's try and get the fastest lap. We tried to do that with Albon in the previous round, and we actually only missed out by about 3/10. So, late in the race, if we can just stick a car on soft tyres, we've got a chance. All right, Melbourne, Australia, a venue that I have. We've got a wet race incoming. Interesting. Points could be available. Although, if your car is slow, it's just magnified in the rain on this game. There's no, real opportunity within it. We've got 1 vote for Red Bull. For the best livery. I mean, everyone expects Red Bull to do something special with their livery every year, but they don't. It's not the livery that I have a problem in terms of Red Bull. I thought their season launch was utter garbage. I mean, Williams did it right yesterday. You open up and you go in with the car. Here's our car. Then you start talking to the other people. They spoke to Jamie Chadwick. They had a few words from their F2 and F3 drivers. So it worked. Obviously, Red Bull is a different sort of exercise. It's a brand, isn't it? Williams is a racing team. And Red Bull are involved in so many different things. But the launch was specifically for the Formula One team. So to have all of their other athletes there, pretty cool. But unless you're going to stick them in the F1 car and have them looking around it and going, talking about it, there's nothing much to see, really. Okay, so we're 17th and 19th in practice. And that was my big bugbear with the Red Bull launch. So we've got 60-odd% of confidence in the setup. Let's see what we can do with that. So we just need to improve some braking stability. Let's see if we can improve the cornering a little bit. Straights are bad for Nick. That looks a bit better. Let's go with that. I mean, we're not going to get out of Q1. No matter how good our setup is, our car just isn't good enough. We need a bit more on the straights there for Albon. I think that might work. I mean, let's see. We'll just simulate this session. We won't get out of Q1. But let's see if we've outqualified an Aston Martin again. We have. Nick De Vries has outqualified the pair of them, but Alex Albon is last. Okay, so how far off Q2 were we? Half a second off Daniel Ricciardo with Nick De Vries. De Vries is doing really well. I haven't actually checked out his stats. But yeah, he's put almost half a second on Albon. Just edged out the 2 Astons. That's solid work from the Dutchman. Right, let's head into this race. So we're going to have a dry start, then it's going to start sprinkling with rain. Then we've got heavy rain, and then it's going to have a little dry spell here. So this could be a race of many stops. We're going to start on the soft tyre. Both cars. We're going to underfuel, because in the wet we'll just go a bit slow, and we should recover a bit of fuel. And we're gonna go full attack. In fact, actually, we won't be quite so underfueled. We'll just start. Yeah, we'll start with the correct amount of fuel. Actually, change of heart, but we're gonna go all out attack in the opening laps, and we're gonna see how much ground we can make up before the rain hits. And the trick will be to make sure we time our move onto the wet tyres perfectly. Whether we double stack or not is, a big question. So we'll see. Hello to Tom in the chat. Nice to see you, my friend. Not played in this in a while. Have they fixed the bugs? No idea. I don't really know. I didn't realise there was any bugs, to be honest. And well, there's a few things that I think can be improved. I don't know whether they're necessarily bugs. Let me know what bugs you're talking about. The Red Bull livery looks great, but don't call it a car when it's not. Okay. Yes, that's another thing. Yes, this is the RB19. And to be fair, Alfa Romeo have done the same thing today. They've had a car that's there, but it's a show car. It's not the real car. Which is, I'm finding a little bit insulting, and they're not actually showing us their cars. What's the point in doing these launches, these events, if you're not going to show us the real thing? You might as well do, like a 1 hour show and tell ahead of first practice or ahead of testing. So, yeah, maybe that's something that the FOM can address somewhere down the line. Could you imagine if Andretti Cadillac get on the grid and then, they're as good as they were. They're like, yeah, this is our car, and they just show them all up. That would really put the other team's nose out of joint. Let's start this race. It's dry to start. Some clouds in the sky. Fernando Alonso standing in front of the Red Bull, and we're going to have some red lights to start us off in Australia. It's go. Let's jump on board with, we'll go on board with Albon, because then we can see everything that's happening. We're going to steam down to turn 1. De Vries is looking down the inside. We've got a crash at the first corner. It is Nick De Vries who is off the track. He's got front wing damage. It's a terrible start for the Williams team. So we will... Well, we're going to have to fix the front wing. Cancel. Let's just keep the tyres as they are. Pit this lap. Let's have a look at the replay. What has happened here? Down into turn 1. De Vries pulls out into the middle of the road. And then clashes with Lando Norris. And a bit of front wing is missing. And Norris is still there, sliding around. Yeah, the McLaren boys are not happy about that. They're still sliding around. Maybe these are the bugs you were talking about, Tom? De Vries is just spinning around in circles. Okay, we've got another replay. We've seen that already. And now he's back on track. Where's Albon? There he is. They're only halfway around the lap. We've also got a penalty for Nick De Vries. Anyway... So we'll just take him down to that and standard. Did we change the tyres? I don't remember. Anyway, we had a yellow flag. That's Verstappen off the track. It is all happening on the opening lap here in Melbourne. Max Verstappen from the lead locks up and decides that he can't get back on the track. Wow. Incredible. Yeah, that would be the reaction in the Red Bull pit garage. We're back on board with Albon. We'll jump off board. Albon overtakes Verstappen, something we didn't always see. But we are hustling the Haas, and we're actually going down the inside of Mick Schumacher, who is on hard tyres. We're the only car on softs, so we've got a real advantage. Maybe we don't need to be attacking quite so much. Maybe we can just go standard. But neutral there. There's De Vries. Front wing still intact. It's kind of helpful, though, for when the rain, if the rain arrives. Let's have a look. Yeah, the rain is a few laps out yet. So that's helpful. We could probably chuck De Vries onto the Inters first, and maybe that's how he'll get back into contention. Albon is chasing Zhou Guanyu, who is on mediums. So we've got an advantage on the tyres. We could probably continue to be aggressive, to be fair. The only way this doesn't work out is if the rain doesn't arrive. But when they say weather predicted, there's rain coming. We've dropped back from Zhou. We will have DRS, though, so we can close the gap. We'll just keep pushing. There we go. And we'll just hang out with this lot in the midfield. DRS enabled for everybody. Verstappen there mixing it in between the Red Bulls. And it's handed the Ferraris first and second. Zhou Guanyu going round the outside of Tsunoda ahead of us. A wild opening few laps here in Melbourne. And it's about to get even crazier because we've got about 3 minutes until the rain. We'll just hang in there. We're down to 70% on the tyres, but that's fine because, well, 69% now. A nice amount of percentage there. We're the only car on the softs. So they're only good for a few laps. The rain's incoming, so it should work out perfectly. We're pushing on the fuel, so we'll just back off on there. As long as we can stay in the DRS zone of Tsunoda, then we'll be able to hang out with this lot. Verstappen's on his way through as well. He's passed Lance Stroll. Lando Norris is half a minute behind Vettel. De Vries still apparently hasn't served the penalty, which he should have. There is the Dutchman. He actually had a really good start to the season. Right, okay, we have got some rain incoming. So when it gets to about 1 millimetre, that's the trigger point. In fact, I think it's going to get that way. So where is Albon? He's missed the pit entrance, as has everybody else. So we'll box him here, but we're going to box De Vries now. So here we go. It's going to go up to 1 millimetre. That means we can use intermediate tyres. Track's getting damp. Yeah, we know that. De Vries will come into the pits. He will probably serve his penalty. He'll be the only. He's going to be the first driver onto the Inters. And we've got some heavier rain coming in and around lap 25. Yeah, we're serving the penalty now. Intermediate tyres on. Nick De Vries is on his way, but he's almost a lap down. Look, there are the two Ferraris. Well, the lead Ferrari of Leclerc at least, and they're all coming into the pits. Here comes Albon. Tsunoda hasn't pitted. Verstappen's right up our chuff. What absolutely wild scenes in the pit lane. De Vries is going to need to push. We might as well just put him on deploy and go for it. Albon comes out still in 14th. Verstappen has fallen back from him. But this is going to be quite a long race in terms of keeping your tyres alive and making sure you're on the right tyres at the right time. Have we managed to catch Lando Norris? No, not with Nick De Vries. So he's just going to be... De Vries is kind of now our guinea pig for Albon. If it's raining, we get De Vries in on something. If we take a risk with him, that's how we're going to play it. We'll just keep an eye on Albon and make sure we keep him somewhere in the fight. We're on the verge of the points here. We're going to come out right behind Esteban Ocon. We're fighting for a championship point all of a sudden. We've leapfrogged Zhou and Magnussen and Tsunoda, as has Stroll, who's ahead of them. He's got 7.5 seconds back to... I think Verstappen's gone into the pits again. Is he pitted? Yeah, he's pitted twice. Why did Verstappen go back in? How bizarre. All right. Wow, look at this. There's this whole train, including the two Mercedes, at least one Mercedes and a Red Bull and a McLaren. You've got 6 different cars here. You've got Perez, Ricciardo, Gasly, Russell, Ocon and Albon. What on earth is this race? So the next key metric we need to... We've got 10th place. We've lost 10th place. Albon round the outside of Ocon. It's just going to mention that we need to keep an eye on the dampness going up to 4 millimetres of rain. We're back up into 10th. Albon absolutely doing bits. Is he going to pass a Red Bull? Why is Perez so slow? He's on wets. Full wets. What on earth is he doing? He's now in the pits. What are Red Bull doing on the pit wall with their strategy? We're still side by side with Ocon, and we're losing chunks of time to the cars ahead of us and the cars behind us. Just follow Ocon. Everything will be all right. We hope. Although Ocon will soon just disappear. There you go. Look, he's already a second clear of Albon. There's De Vries. He's just having a terrible old time at the back. We kind of need a safety car to help Nick out. Although him being in that position is kind of all his fault. So we've got Stroll catching us with Zhou and Magnussen and Tsunoda and Vettel behind him. We should be all right because the Aston Martin isn't brilliant in a straight line and there's no DRS, so you can't really zip by anybody. But there is potential for incidents in the rain. Alonso doing bits up in P4. Hamilton in 3rd. Look at the two Red Bulls, 17th and 18th. And they're fighting each other. Wonder if there's any team orders going on there. Anyway, back to our points paying position in P10. We're actually pulling away. It's Zhou now and Stroll side by side. Zhou has got ahead of the Aston Martin. So that's not really good news for us because the Alfa Romeo is good in a straight line. So the track is drying slightly. We've got a cloud without rain here, but there's going to be some heavy rain shortly after that, supposedly. So we'll just have to wait and see. It is all a bit grey and murky, isn't it? Just looking on the preview screen to my right, it is all a bit grey. I suppose that would be with the rain. We're a second clear of Zhou, who is now within that 1 second window. Let's move things along and just see how things pan out. Zhou is going to close the gap, but whether he can get past or not is the big question. Look, we've pulled out over Stroll. That's a phrase, isn't it? If I ever heard one. Yeah, we've opened up a gap on Stroll. 2.5 seconds between him and Zhou. The Chinese driver is right behind the Thai driver. It's the battle for top dog in Asian motorsport here. And at the moment, it's Alex Albon who is ahead. And still ahead. And that's the thing with the wet race. You just if you haven't got enough of a car advantage, you just get stuck. And Zhou is now living within 4/10 of us. Is this the move? No. Albon closes the door. How about this time? Oh, side by side. I think we might be about to lose the position. This time we do. Yes. Zhou Guanyu moves into P10. That's a shame. But there's still a long way to go in this race. But whether we see the back of the Alfa Romeo again is questionable, at least. Let's have a look at everyone else's tyre wear. Kind of around the same as us. We're at 79%, the same as Magnussen. So far, I think our strategy has been pretty good. Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching after the fact, let me know in the comments what you think of the strategy call so far after 17 laps in Melbourne. Zhou is absolutely clearing off. So let's move this up a bit. Track is drying out. The rain appears to be easing off, but it probably will only ease off for a little bit. And the question will be, well, first question is, can we keep Magnussen behind us? And how heavy will this next batch of rain really be? Will it be heavy enough for wets? Or will it be, can you survive on inters? It's only really, well, I say short, but it eases up a little bit. Then it's heavy again. I mean, if you keep having to box, you lose huge amounts of time. But then if you're on the wrong tyres for too long, you just get eaten up. And that's what's happened to Perez. And they are the two Red Bulls side by side, right behind Mick Schumacher. Perez now back ahead of Verstappen. I suppose what we can do is, with De Vries, is maybe stick him on the wets and just, if he starts going quickly, then we do the same with Albon. Track is now apparently dry, but we are due in 3 minutes more rain. So we're going to conserve the tyres, go light on them. Hopefully we can keep our inters alive. Spot on so far. Hopefully a safety car incoming soon. Yes, I mean, we had a little bet from Ruby in the last stream. She plumped for lap 26 in Saudi Arabia. And we didn't get a safety car. The rain is back. Track is now damp again. But keeping our tyres alive is really, really important. Because if we can make one less stop than everybody else, as the two Red Bulls in the background there, both going for a position, and they've both passed Mick Schumacher. If we can stop once less than everybody else, that will put us in a really good position. But we've already lost nearly 7 seconds just to Zhou. Okay, so we haven't got the really heavy downpour yet. Let's keep an eye on the level of water. Is it worth... It's far too soon at the moment to put De Vries on wets. But what I'm thinking we will do is just leave De Vries out on wets here. And then try and respond with Albon. Because the computer will drag the cars in if it's, like, for whatever tyres are correct for the time that they come past the pit lane. So you have the cars on these bizarre strategies. They end up doing a Jenson Button Canada 2011 style race where they stop 6 or 7 times. But we are hanging on to this P11. And an 11th place could be crucial in our fight with Aston Martin for that P9 in the Constructors. There's the angry mob, including the Red Bulls behind us. Still only 2 millimetres of rain. We're still in 11th. Everything's going fine. I don't think we're going to get this big downpour. So we can probably push a wee bit more on the tyres. Let's keep an eye on things. Track actually drying out a little bit now. Albon's still ahead of Magnussen. Track definitely drying up a bit. Apparently we've got a period where the rain is going to stop shortly. That's interesting. Maybe we need to invest in the weather system. Box Nick for fresh inters and hope for a safety car. I mean, that's not a bad shout. I mean, what is it? 58 laps. So we're about halfway. So 29, lap 29 would be halfway. So yeah, let's get to lap 29:30 with Nick, and then we'll box him for inters and see if we can take him to the end. Because if we need to do a late switch, we can swing the advantage back in his favour. And obviously, as you say, Tom, a safety car would be perfect. And we are regaining that fuel we used at the beginning. So let's speed this up to lap 29:30ish and see if we can get De Vries on fresh inters. He is a lap down. So the problem now is can't see forecast on a tiny screen. So at work to trust you. You'll just have to trust me on this, Tom. It's like being a Ferrari fan. You just have to trust them, and hopefully I won't let you down in the way that Ferrari let their fans down. The rain is heavy in 1 minute. So let's box De Vries. French inters. The problem we have for De Vries, safety car wise, is he's now a lap down and they don't do any unlapping of cars on this game, which is really frustrating. So if you are a lap down, that's it. Your race is ruined. If there's a safety car, you end up a lap behind everyone, which is, it just takes the fun out of the game. So they really must fix that. If they can't patch it, then they need to put it in hard-coded in the game next year, or this year. But we'll do the best we can. I suppose we'll just need to improve the car so we're not a lap down in Season 2. Although Season 2 is still a long way off. So De Vries is now on fresh inters. Carlos Sainz following Nick De Vries into the pit lane. What's he going for? Inters as well. And we're still in front of Magnussen with Albon, but Perez is coming up fast behind us. We're actually opening up a bit of a gap now on Magnussen. What's the tyre wear for the Haas driver? Yeah, he's eaten through his tyres. Perez, the magician that he is, well, actually, he pitted later than everybody else, so it's not that magical what he's doing, but still, 53%. Verstappen, 48%. There's something to say. Maybe Verstappen went on to wets. Perhaps that's what he did. Can we see the tyre history? Max Verstappen. No, he went... Oh, where is Max Verstappen? Yeah, he did go on to wets. That's why he pitted again. Not only did he throw it off the road, but Red Bull completely dropped the ball on strategy. Albon, 29.8 the last time around, a second a lap slower than the cars ahead. So we are struggling for outright pace. De Vries' tyres will probably get into the end. Stroll and Verstappen are now in the pit lane. We're just hanging out here with a Haas and a Red Bull. Right, Albon, what do we do with you? The later we leave it, obviously the more chance we'll get undercut. But if it's one more stop from here, then perhaps a later stop will help us later in the race. We'll have those fresher tyres. We'll be able to push a little bit more. Zhou has gone into the pit lane, but we were some 20 seconds behind, and he's held on to that 10th place. Here comes Charles Leclerc, race leader, to lap us. And any safety car from here now leaves us stranded, basically. We move over and let the Ferrari through. Perez still stuck behind Magnussen, actually. Not finding it easy to get past the Dane, although he might get down the inside there. Leclerc now into the pits. Let's see how things unfold over the next few laps here. We'll just speed it up a wee bit. And what we can do with De Vries as well, actually, is go for the fastest lap at the end of the race. Everyone else going into the pit lane, but we are so far behind that we're not going to even gain a position. Perez has boxed as well. We'll lose the places to the two Red Bulls. That's almost a slam dunk. Well, it is a slam dunk, let's be honest. Albon, 20 laps to go. That's nothing for him around Albert Park. Let's put a new set of inters on. And then that should see him to the end. Yeah, we'll have a little bit more tyre life than everybody else. What does Magnussen do? He stays out. Fresh set of inters going on. And we are going to stay ahead of Lance Stroll. So hopefully we can hang on to that position. Let's push with the fuel and see if we can get away from the Aston Martin. Yuki Tsunoda is 17th. Lando Norris is still only 18th. De Vries is 25 seconds behind Vettel. And could quickly be, it's actually about to be 2 laps down. That's Carlos Sainz. No, that's not. Who is that behind De Vries? Oh, that would be Bottas? Yeah. But yeah, he's not far from being 2 laps down. We have cleared away from Stroll there. But I think he's had to move out of the way of the Mercedes. But that's our real fight, is make sure we stay ahead of the Aston Martins. Let's see how the rest of this race pans out for us. We will box De Vries in the final few laps and see if we can go for the fastest lap on into... Well, actually, no. The fastest lap would have been set on dries, wouldn't it? So there's no point doing that. No point doing that at all. The poll is still open for your votes on the best livery so far. Red Bull winning at the moment. What's Albon up to? Is he closing in on Mick Schumacher? He is actually. He's about 1.5 seconds a lap quicker. But Mick has still got to pit. Magnussen, 22% tyres. Haas absolutely hanging out on the tyres as long as they can, but they're going to lose this position to Albon. I'm not quite sure what their strategy guys are up to. Have we got more rain incoming? The track is drying. We'll just drop Nick down to light there on the tyres. We'll drop Albon down to light as well, conserve some of the tyres and just make sure we get to the end. Magnussen into the pits, and he's going to have to pass a whole load of cars if he wants to catch up with us. Albon just behind Mick Schumacher. Track still drying. This has been a real waiting game. We've just passed Mick Schumacher there. There we go. Let's get a replay of this, I hope. Here we go. Down the inside into turn 3. muscling his way through there, Alex Albon. Hanging out around the outside and finishing the move off into turn 5. Good stuff. Really nice stuff. And we'll just hang on to our tyres. Track getting wetter. What's Schumacher's tyre life? 18%. Surely he boxes. Yeah, he does. So now we've got a few seconds over Stroll, and we'll just go back up to standard now. Do the same with De Vries. And 9 laps to go. Well, 8 for us, because we're a lap down. Although, is De Vries 2 laps down yet? Not yet. But he's about to be, because he is there, and the car next on the track behind him. There he is. You should just see the Ferrari there. That's Carlos Sainz, race leader, who actually won the opening round in Bahrain. Let's just move this through to the end of the race now. Oh, we've had a crash. We have had a crash. Where's the crash? We've got a safety car, and that confirms us as good as... well, let's just put De Vries on fresh inters. Who's out of the race? It's Ocon out of the race. Here's the accident. It's a Red Bull, Sergio Perez, and oh, he just decided he didn't like Esteban Ocon anymore. Esteban Ocon didn't want to be in this race. Perez will now have a penalty and will need to head to the pit lane. Is he a lap down as well? He is. So everyone from Ricciardo down is a lap down. So do you know what? I mean, do we stick another set of inters on Albon as well here? And then we'll just go for it. Let's do that. Let's have some fun. We'll conserve tyres and everything. De Vries has got loads of fuel left to use. Albon, 17th he comes out in. Perez is still 12th. But, I mean, realistically, if we have such better tyres than everybody else, just for a few laps, we might be able to move up 5 or 6 positions. So let's move this up towards the end of the race. Lapped. Oh, hello. Lapped cars may now overtake. They've put it in. Okay. So we're going to be on the lead lap. But then so are all of the other guys. Who is... Yeah, look at this. How many laps have we got left? Oh, we've got several laps left. Okay, so we'll conserve our tyres. We'll fast forward this to the point where the safety car is coming in. It's going to be a few laps shootout. Safety car ending this lap. And we are not going to catch it at all. The safety car is there. Okay, well. Well, we might as well go aggressive and push and... There we go. Okay, so we're racing again, and we're only halfway around the lap. Okay, so we are... Where's Magnussen? He's at the end of that straight. Where's De Vries? He's in the first sector, still a lap down. Box next for softs. And that's too wet for softs, unfortunately. I would do that, but it's a bit too wet still. Albon, let's just attack. And we'll deploy. Can we catch Magnussen? Unlikely. Unlikely. But we are pulling away from Schumacher. But Magnussen is a bit faster. 2 Ferraris at the front. Hamilton just there waiting. Ready to pounce if shenanigans happens between the 2 Scarlet cars. Don't think we're catching Magnussen. Not really enough. Half a second a lap there. Where's De Vries? He's just, yeah, all on his own. It's 50 odd seconds behind Mick Schumacher. Lance Stroll is 12th. That's a problem for us because that will bump us down to 10th. So this has kind of backfired. We've taken a risk, but, you know, no risk, no reward. And, you know, it doesn't really matter too much. Unless we start dealing in points, then we can always try and finish 11th in another crazy wet race. That might be where we get some points. We'll just fast forward this to the end of the race. We're on the final lap. In fact, we are closing on Magnussen, who's tucked up behind Vettel. We've had a crash on track. That's Max Verstappen off the road. Verstappen has crashed. He's crashed into Zhou Guanyu. What on earth was Max Verstappen doing there? It's been an absolute nightmare of a race for Max Verstappen. He's off the track. He's recovered. We're on to the last lap. We're just going to deploy. Go for it. Can we catch and pass the 2 cars ahead of us? Magnussen's all over the Aston Martin. Carlos Sainz has won. Sorry, Charles Leclerc has won. He's passed his teammate. Hamilton 3rd, Bottas 4th, Alonso, Ricciardo 6th. This game's not realistic. De Vries has reached the flag. Albon's still trying. But I don't think we're going to... Great job, mate, for 19th. Cool, the sass from the engineer. We finished 17th and 19th, behind both Aston Martins. So it hasn't worked out well for us on this occasion. But worry not. In Albon we trust. Okay, so yeah, that does drop us down to 10th. But Haas haven't actually got a point either yet. So we can pick up a point in the near future. We might be able to just, you know, still maybe 8th place. Development point available for Alex Albon. Suspension manufacturing complete. Let's okay, so minor technical regulation change. Vote for low speed or high speed. Doesn't really make much difference. Let's go. Well, we're quite good at high speed, I think, relatively speaking. So what? Let's go vote for low speed because we're not very good at that. Suspension manufactured. Install on both cars. Is there something else we can design? No. No, there's not. We have to improve the facilities for that. But first we need some money to do that. This guy is quite good. Can we compare him to FX de Maison? Yeah, he's better in every way. And seeing as FX de Maison left Williams, let's give this guy $2 million a year. That much will do. Starting bonus. That'll do. Offer. Oh, he wants more money. He wants more money. Let's try 4 million. Yeah, he likes 4 million and he's accepted it. Goodbye, FX de Maison. Tai Chuang is now our technical chief. And if you look at the overall ratings, he is the 5th best behind Pierre Wache, Enrico Cardile, Simone Resta, Matt Harmon. Mike Elliott for Mercedes, not actually that good in comparison. Head of aerodynamics, where does ours stack up? David Wheater, not the footballer. So we could actually scout this guy, Oliver Guerin, because he's better in the overall rating of things. We will have a look at the development point for Albon. I think we need to put it into cornering because then he can just be faster. Let's have a look at De Vries' stats. His cornering is actually really good. That's probably why he's so quick over one lap. Accuracy, not so good. Control, that would explain why he is locking up. Smoothness, yeah, not great. We'll have to improve that. Defending, not so good either. But yeah, he's doing all right. We will now move on to Imola. We've had the results of the car research unlocked. Okay. So what do we need to do? Car part manufacturer 3, design capacity 2. So we need to upgrade the design center to be able to design more things, which makes sense. Isaac Hadjar, potential future rookie for us. Right, let's go to our performance targets, fastest lap. We won't bother with that. What's the forecast? What have we got? Overview. Got sunshine. We've had another vote in the poll. We've had a vote for Williams. So Red Bull and Williams tied on a vote apiece. Now in the livery poll, not much love for the Haas or the Alfa Romeo liveries. Just save game here, just in case anything silly happens. I know it auto saves, but just in case. All right, let's head off to Imola. Okay, let's just simulate qualifying. If you're enjoying this stream, make sure you leave a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I put out a short today from our last stream. Hey Owen, you voted for Williams, mostly because I like the blue and orange combo. Yeah, it does look quite nice, doesn't it? It's not too overpowering, the orange. I had a video come out today, a short video, where I seem to curse Sebastian Vettel in the previous stream. I was talking about how well he conserves his tyres, and then lo and behold, he locks up and off he goes. Okay, so we've got 67% confidence for De Vries. We need a little bit more braking stability, which we can do like this. And like that. Let's do that. Traction we need to bring that back up there. That'll do. Again, braking stability for Albon. That's about it, and the straights as well. Oh, that's a huge amount of difference in straights. Okay, let's. I mean, we know we're not going to get out of Q1, so let's just go to simulate. Here we go. 17th and 19th for Albon. Didn't qualify last. That's good. Lance Stroll qualifies last. Ricciardo not getting out of Q1 though, but we are still about half a second off the pace. How are you, Owen? Good to see you in the chat. Okay, so we'll go medium hard with both cars here. 92% confidence for De Vries, only 78 for Albon. Imola's a track where we do tend to get a lot of safety cars, so I'm going to do 1 lap less of fuel. And now that I know that lapped cars may overtake, all lapped cars may overtake, we can factor that into our strategy. Okay, there's a Ferrari on pole position. It's Charles Leclerc. We've got 3, 4, 5 red lights in Imola. And off we go. Down into turn 1, the Tamburello chicane. De Vries still side by side with Vettel. Albon's allowing Stroll to sneak up the inside. We don't like that. Stroll's on the soft tyre. Vettel on the hard. Zhou has locked up at turn 6. Has he hit anybody? No, he's managed to avoid everyone and stay on track. So that was hardly worth the gasps. Good to have the stream on while I wet up. Anything I can do to help. If I can make work a little bit more satisfying, then all good news. De Vries up to 16th there. He's got ahead of Mick Schumacher. We're actually chasing Daniel Ricciardo. We are a little bit short on fuel. We can actually see how De Vries got past the German through the Variante Alta, I think it is, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah. Oh, they're giving Schumacher the chop. Cool. That could have ended in disaster. The boys and girls in the garage absolutely loving that overtake. And so do I. We're right on the back of Ricciardo. So if we can just hang out here and pick up the DRS and go with them, then we'll be absolutely okay. But Albon's going to get stuck behind this lot, because unless they come with us, his race is toast. Unless there's a nicely timed safety car. We'll have a big decision to make as well at the end of the season, I think, because obviously Albon's pretty good. Pretty well-rounded driver. We're going to have to push, I think, to stay in DRS. But De Vries has got the speed. He's just always able to be there, unless he's wiping people out at the first corner. Decisive pass from the Dutchman. Yeah, things we love to see are decisive overtakes. None of this dilly-dallying. Albon having a look at Vettel. Around the outside into the chicane. Doesn't quite get the job done. But we will have DRS with Nick De Vries. And as long as we can stay with this pair of Ricciardo and Tsunoda, we'll be just fine. But Ricciardo is now ahead of the AlphaTauri. So hopefully we can get past the AlphaTauri as well. We need to get past Vettel. There is a way to do this without DRS. So let's do this. And will it work? No. Yes. There we go. But now we'll have Vettel right on our tail with DRS. That hasn't quite worked out as hoped. Ricciardo is taking off and leaving Tsunoda behind. We had DRS there. We've held off Vettel. So we need to close the gap to Stroll, who is on the soft tyres. And Schumacher's on hards as well. We've got a yellow flag. Who was that? Perez ran wide. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Bottas has gone off. And that pushes us up to 15th and 18th now. DRS for De Vries. De Vries RS. No? Let me know if that was a terrible pun. Probably. Got to make sure we stay in that 1 second window behind Tsunoda. Just dropped out of it. Just dropped out of it. That's not good. Oh, it moves around so quickly. Did we get DRS? We did not. And now we're under pressure from Schumacher behind and Stroll. That's a problem. Where's Albon? He's slowly not closing the gap. Alright, I think we might be back. The PC decided it didn't like that race anymore. It's decided that we can have another go. Yeah. Not ideal. I mean, that was quite the shock to me. I was like, that's a problem. But apparently my PC is powered by the same power as Fernando Alonso's car last year. Just getting into the swing of things. Everything's looking okay, and then nope. Decided didn't want to play anymore. Fortunately, the game auto-saved before the race. So, let's not go with that screen. This screen, there we go. Right. Close poll. Yes, and I am back. And we are going to give this Imola race another whirl. Maybe we won't go. Apparently the car setup is untested. But we definitely had data before. I don't understand how that's worked out. Anyway, same strategy. Well, we won't have less fuel this time. We'll just see how we get on. Okay, let's dive on board with Albon. Don't let Stroll through this time. Sector. Oh, we've got a crash, a huge crash. We've got a red flag. No, Albon, what have you done? What have you done? Why? Why? What is he doing? red flag, and then Albon for no reason just drives into Bottas's car. I didn't even see a replay of what happened. Okay, now what? Whatever next. Okay, so we're going to start from 17th. No, Tsunoda's out, Bottas is out. So we will start 15th and 17th. Well, we'll just stay on those tyres. First red. No, I've had other red flags, but I've not had it quite like this. This was insane. Verstappen's actually got himself in front, and now he starts on pole. 5 red lights again, and oh, that was weird. Albon's got a penalty, and I forgot to change the front wing. Oh my gosh. Oh, what is this stream? What is going on? We'll put... That's not how it's supposed to work with the restart. No, we're supposed to have everything fixed. It should have told me you have terminal damage. You must change the wing. What's going on with De Vries? He's fine. Another car has just run wide. Verstappen running wide, but it makes no difference. What on earth is going on in this game now? De Vries having a look around the outside of Mick Schumacher. Ricciardo's got a penalty as well. So we've got, all of a sudden we've got loads of fuel. DRS is now enabled. I don't understand. It's not supposed to be until 2 laps after a restart. Albon's in the pits. I mean, we haven't just had 20 odd minutes while they've cleared the track to deal with this. The sheer incompetence on the pit wall. From me. Alright, well that's Albon's race ruined. Not because there was damage, but because we forgot to change it. Well, fix it at least. Maybe there'll be another red flag. Who knows? The game has really messed up how red flags work. It's not usually like that. It's not usually that bad. It's usually all right. But we are losing ground to Mick Schumacher. We could probably deploy, actually, and just re-close that gap. Ricciardo still has a penalty to serve, so we might gain that position. Ferraris are at the front again. So we put Albon on hard tyres. We've got a car running wide in Sector 3. That would be Stroll, because he's miles off the back of Vettel now. Yeah, so with Albon, what we're going to do, he's running on hard. So around here, lap 45, lap 50, I'm going to chuck him on a set of softs, and he'll either we'll have a really well-timed safety car, and he'll rip through the field and steal a point, or he'll set the fastest lap. Maybe. Right, De Vries is just hanging out with Mick Schumacher. That's good. Just keep there with the DRS. There's a big train. It's coming from Zhou. It's Gasly, Norris, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Schumacher, then De Vries. So we'll see how this gets on. I think we've got further than we did before. Possibly. I can't remember what lap we were on. When everything just... I mean... Oh, and I think you might have missed the start to the Australia race. We had the rain incoming, and then... Yeah, Albon would definitely benefit from a safety car. So we had the rain incoming at the start of the Melbourne race, and we were the only cars on soft tyres, but De Vries took out Norris, and that ruined his race. Then we had Verstappen and the Red Bulls doing God knows what. I mean, Verstappen locked up out of the and went off out of the lead on lap 1. Then they put them on wets and they had to stop again when everyone else went on to inters. It was just wild. And now this, that my computer's crashed. Then we've had an instant red flag. I forgot to change Albon's damage because he was stupid enough to drive into the stationary Alfa Romeo. I mean, this has just been the most nuts stream. You saw Verstappen crash into Zhou. Yeah, we've had a crash, another one, got yellow flags. Magnussen crashed at turn 7. Oh, well, we've gained ourselves another position. He's still in the race though, Magnussen. Has he got damage? Yes. There's De Vries. Albon is just coming through Villeneuve. We won't have DRS this time around. We probably had to slow down for the yellow flags. Yeah, that Verstappen incident with Zhou, it was reminiscent of... it was like Kimi Raikkonen's spin at that corner in 2008, where you just put a wheel on the grass, and also when Webber was defending from, I think, it was Mika Salo. Is rain forecasted in the top right? No. This race is going to be dry most of the way. All of the way, by the look of it. De Vries is now 2 seconds behind Schumacher. Let's go balanced. What we'll actually do is harvest the first part of this lap. And then what we'll try and do is really put the hammer down and close up. We're actually... I think everyone else changed tyres. We didn't. With De Vries at least. Yeah, we're now 2.5 seconds behind Schumacher. Got a couple of seconds on Vettel. So Albon is actually gaining loads of fuel. So we need to push with him. Let's just see how things pan out from here. I did say before I started the race the first time around that Imola is a place where we tend to get lots of safety cars and stuff because it's a big braking zone. So you've got the one into the Tosa hairpin, then into the chicane at the top of the hill. Also, the two Ravazza corners, especially Ravazza 1, cars tend to slide off there. And the Tamburello, they like to play ping pong into there with the cars. De Vries now 4 seconds behind Mick Schumacher. So that's just, we don't have a quick enough car. Not too much we can do. Vettel's not closing up on us. We've actually extended the gap by a couple of tenths. We are matching Vettel roughly. I mean, it's what, 0.03 of a second apart. Mick Schumacher 0.4 a lap quicker. Ricciardo almost a second a lap faster. Sainz and Leclerc still at the front. Alonso's got himself in between the two Mercedes drivers. Let's just fast forward and see how this race unfolds. There's probably not much now, unless we get a safety car or another red flag. It's probably not a huge amount for us to really do because we simply don't have the inherent car pace to catch this group ahead of us. That is Norris, Gasly, Ricciardo and Schumacher. And we could probably push on the engine, but that's probably slowing us down a fair amount. We are not that far away from the pit window. 2 laps and then it'll be open for business. But actually kind of nice that it's not all kicking off again. Pit window entered. First time we've actually seen that message today because we didn't bother with an actual strategy in Australia. Where's Albon? He is there. Is he a lap down now? He is, yeah. I thought I saw a Red Bull ahead. Yeah, there you go. He is a lap down. De Vries, he's actually pulling out a bit of a gap on Vettel. Yeah, I get 10th a lap quicker the last time around. He's locked up. Excellent. He's fast, but there are errors in Nick de Vries. And now Vettel is going to probably go past with DRS. Did he get DRS? He did. He's defended well there, actually, de Vries. We are well and truly off the back of Mick Schumacher now. Didn't lose that much time, to be honest, even with the lockup. Recovered pretty quickly. I suppose something in the coding, the way they look to rejoin the track, so you don't get these unsafe rejoin penalties. But then, you know, the way sometimes they turn onto the track and they just get walloped by a car coming past. Let's put him on the hards. We'll harvest energy. There we go. We've got a yellow in sector 1. De Vries now into the pits. Alonso ran wide and lost a position to Russell. We are now a lap down, but on hard tyres. Where is Albon? He's about to be lapped by Hamilton. We are currently, of those now running, we are last and second last, which kind of to be expected. We are with Williams. The car's not very good. Our drivers keep locking up or driving into crashed cars. Another yellow. Oh, there's been a crash. What has happened? Leclerc, I think, has hit De Vries. He's locked up. Will we see him rejoin? No. That was Charles Leclerc in the lead. Crash involving multiple cars. Here we go. There's Leclerc. That is Nick de Vries. And he's just sideswiped the Ferrari. He's giving him the chop again. Ferrari really not happy with that. Leclerc in the pit lane. We're about to get lapped by Verstappen. No, Perez. Have we got any damage? Incredibly, we do not. Engine is at 56% though. We should probably throttle back on that. What's the engine saying for Albon? Similar. Yeah, we're not going to get anything more than last and second last out of this race. Ricciardo still hasn't served his penalty. Yeah, that was silly, wasn't it? It was the chop on the opening lap on Schumacher. And he tried to do the same thing to Leclerc. It was more than a bit dumb. That's definitely the game. Yeah, the way they're coded to move in and out of traffic and cars coming through to lap them. think the game was telling De Vries, get out of the way. That's a front running car. You're going to be lapped, and obviously didn't factor in the fact that the car was recovering from a lockup. So yeah, it's just the nuances within that. The cars maybe just need to interact with each other a little bit more. Yeah, but fortunately we didn't get damage. But we are well off the back of the pack now. We were another yellow flag just popping up there. Stroll locking up. The Aston's got to stop. Yes. So we might just be able to recover a position there. Ricciardo now in the pits, serving his penalty. And yeah, we're way short of him. So we'll bring Albon in a few laps. F122 based off a different AI logic, as it were. But that's useless with car-to-car interaction as well. Yeah, I think that's the problem. You've got to make a racing game realistic. The cars have got to be able to interact with each other in a way that's realistic. And as we've seen, if they don't, it just looks ridiculous. Vettel has pitted and is now on soft tyres. And, yeah, well, we know how the story ends when there's a car behind on new soft tyres and the car ahead is on old hards. Albon, do we put you on the softs? Yeah, we will. I mean, be worth just trying to go for the fastest lap. What is the fastest lap so far? Lap history. Leclerc has the fastest lap. It's a 19 flat, which he did on lap 41. Which is actually fairly recent. What's he on? Mediums. So maybe we can get the fastest lap. Maybe we can. So we get lapped by a Mercedes. That is George Russell, also on soft tyres. Let's just move this on. We'll pit Albon as close to lap 50 as his current tyre wear allows us to. We might as well just conserve the tyres that De Vries has. Though we could probably bring him in at some point as well. For softs. How long does a set of softs last? 32 laps. Oh, okay. We're bringing them both in right now. Cancel. Yeah. And bring Albon in now. He's there. So we'll just harvest some energy. We'll bring De Vries in the lap after. Stroll actually yet to pit. And Vettel, his tyres will be crying enough by that point as well. Verstappen's actually managed to get himself in the lead. Hamilton is third. Albon into the pit lane. We might actually get past Stroll here. No, we won't. I forgot. We'd called De Vries into the pit lane, hadn't we? Okay, so it's going to be a bit of a shootout now between our two drivers. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. Who was that? It's gone now. Perez running wide. now De Vries running wide on his outlap. Okay, so let's see. Our best lap so far for De Vries is a 20... Oh no. So De Vries' best lap is a 21... So yeah, De Vries' best lap is 21.6. Albon's is a 22.4, which was actually done on a lap with double waved yellows. So Albon's certainly got a bit more pace to give. Where is he? Is he about to be lapped by anybody? Doesn't look like it. So what we'll do... Oh, actually, he is about to be lapped by the Ferrari. So we'll just conserve. What's De Vries up to? He's about to be lapped. This is where it's going to be tricky to set the fastest lap. We're going to be constantly having to jump out of people's way. Just wait until Albon has been lapped. There we go. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a gap back to Magnussen. So what we'll do now is push, deploy, and aggressive. And let's see. Let's ride on board with Albon. See if he can get the fastest lap. It's a personal best final sector. First sector coming up anytime now. Personal best. Probably doesn't help that we're carrying a bit of fuel. But let's see. What's the middle sector saying? That's probably where we're weakest. Another personal best. Gearbox showing where for De Vries. That's fine. We'll just change that ahead of Miami. Here comes Albon. And his last lap was a 19.0. Who's got the fastest lap? Sergio Perez has now got the fastest lap, which is an 18.4. Albon's still pushing. We'll just go light. We'll keep pushing with the engine because we need to burn off the fuel if we want any chance of setting this fastest lap. What's De Vries up to? Has he got traffic behind him? He does. So let's just harvest a bit of energy. Make sure it's fully charged as he has a go as well. Hamilton into the pits with 10 laps to go. Right, where's the car behind him? Not close enough, so we will now go aggressive and deploy. And let's see if De Vries has it. He's actually got past Lance Stroll now, who's just pitted for probably soft tyres. Yep, brand new soft tyres as well. Personal best for De Vries in the first sector. What's his middle sector? Sainz now has the fastest lap. Don't think we're going to be lucky enough to get that fastest lap. Here comes De Vries then over the line. What was his time? It's an 18.7. Not terrible, but actually I think that wasn't quite as quick as Albon's. No, it was quicker. Sorry. Okay, let's just harvest energy now for a final assault at the fastest lap. ERS fully charged for Albon. That's good. Where is Albon? He's actually just behind Verstappen. So we'll give him another go. Zhou pits with 5 laps to go. And that's thrown away a point for him. Albon this time around will be his second go. Oh, let's get rid of all of that. Joe with a lockup. Not a personal best in the middle sector for Albon. Is that Joe ahead of us? It is. That's probably why then. Where's De Vries? He's halfway round his lap. All right. Let's go, Nick. Foot to the floor, my friend. It's not even a personal best first sector. Maybe the tyres have gone. He's got some gearbox wear. Yeah, it's not going to work out. The tyres are absolutely gone. Almost out of fuel as well. So, okay. That's our race done. It's not worked out. Simply because the car isn't good enough. So we'll just move this along. And the stream will come to an end. Right. Sainz is 6 seconds in the lead. He has won the race. What a start to the season for Carlos Sainz. Albon crosses the line 18th. De Vries splits the two Aston Martins. Yeah, a difficult day. We took a risk at the end of the race in Australia. We could have maybe got a point there. But yeah, it's up and down for us, but we're in the mix, you know. We're actually able to do faster lap times than the Aston Martins, although they probably didn't push as much as we did. Albon 2 laps down, mostly because we forgot to change the front wing at the restart. But still haven't got a point. That's good to know. We're now bottom with both of our drivers. De Vries has now moved ahead of Albon, actually, with the 16th place finish. Maybe we just operate on we fire the lowest finishing driver in the championship at the end of the year. Development point for De Vries. Think we'll put that into his control to stop him from just flying off the road at any given opportunity. So let's just have a look at this. The ATR period is ending. We probably need to make use of... Can we just finish the stream with a design? No, we can't. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to find OBS and I'm going to change my screen. Yeah, thanks so much for joining in. Thank you to Tom. Thank you to Owen for coming along. If you enjoyed this stream, both parts of it, I don't know if YouTube is going to stitch it back together, because it did helpfully in OBS say resume interrupted stream. So we'll just wait and see how that pans out. But yeah, we had a bit of a smashing time of things. Lots going on. Lots of craziness. That'll make for good fun editing of highlights. We've got the highlights of Nick De Vries' debut race coming out on the channel later this week. What's coming out tomorrow? I've got the history of the last 5 new F1 entries coming out tomorrow. At least I think I do. Let me just double check on the old YouTube studio for you. Content. Yeah, what happened to the last new F1 entries? That comes out tomorrow. Then the Nick De Vries highlights of his debut from the previous stream comes out on Thursday. I'm working on a couple of videos for Friday as well. I'll be live watch-alonging, if that's even a word, the Hyderabad E-Prix on Saturday morning. So if you enjoy Formula E, you can join me for that as well. I think that's everything. We've got a couple more livery releases coming later this week, I think. Maybe it's the start of next week. Lots to remember, but lots of stuff coming your way on the channel. We will try and go live maybe tomorrow before I go to work for the Miami race. Just save up just in case the PC decides to crash again. But yeah, thanks so much for joining me for this stream. If you enjoyed, give it a like. If you're watching after the fact, do the same. Leave a comment with your favourite livery out of the 4 that we've seen so far. Let me know what you thought of the crazy openings to both of those races that we actually completed. That was absolutely nuts. Yeah, really, really enjoyed the stream. And subscribe for more Grand Prix content. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you soon, everybody.